You're standing in a Target parking lot at 11 p.m. Your friend just texted a screenshot of his portfolio up 40% this year, and you feel nothing. No jealousy, no panic, no mental math of what you're missing out on. You just close the phone and drive home. That's the moment nobody tells you about. Not the day you hit a number in your account. Not the day you quit your job. The day someone else's win stops being a referendum on your life. Most people think financial freedom announces itself. A car, a house, a resignation letter typed in a fit of righteous fury, a six-figure net worth flashed on a screen for strangers online. But that's not how it actually happens. It happens quietly in the background while you're still going to the same job, driving the same car, living in the same apartment. And by the time you notice it, it's already been true for months, long before your net worth catches up to how you feel. I'm going to walk you through 10 signs that you're already becoming financially free. Even if your bank account doesn't look like it yet, even if you're nowhere near retirement, even if you're still paying off a mortgage or building your first emergency fund. Two of them are going to sound wrong when I say them. One of them contradicts almost everything the personal finance internet has told you to believe about passive income and getting rich fast. Stick around because sign number 7 is the one that changed how I look at every wealthy person I've ever met, and it's not what you think. Let's start with the one nobody talks about because it doesn't look like progress. It looks like silence. There's an electrician named Malik, 33 years old, based just outside Columbus. For years, every conversation with his brother-in-law turned into a comparison. New truck, new watch, a vacation to Cabo, posted in stories with the caption, "Blessed." Malik would come home from those dinners and open 3 different investing apps, refreshing numbers that hadn't changed since he last looked 20 minutes earlier. He wasn't checking his money, he was checking his standing. Then, somewhere around his second year of automating his savings and never touching the number, something shifted. His brother-in-law bought a boat. Malik felt his stomach do the old flinch, and then it just stopped. He noticed the boat, said, "Nice," and moved on to asking about the kids. He told me later it was the strangest feeling, like a muscle he'd been clenching for a decade finally letting go without him deciding to release it. That's sign 1. You stop keeping score. Not because you've won some competition, but because you've quietly exited it. And here's the part that surprises people. The moment you stop competing is usually the moment your net worth actually starts compounding faster because you're no longer bleeding money into things bought to be seen rather than used. Every dollar that used to go toward looking wealthy starts going toward becoming wealthy instead. Into an index fund, into a high-yield savings account, into the kind of boring compound interest that never trends on social media but quietly builds real financial independence. Malik didn't do anything dramatic to get there. He didn't day trade his way out of debt or discover some secret passive income stream on the internet. He just automated a percentage of every paycheck into his 401k before he ever saw it, paid down the balance on his credit card instead of chasing the minimum payment, and let his emergency fund sit untouched in a high-yield savings account, earning interest instead of sitting idle and checking. None of it made a good story, and none of it would ever trend on social media. That was exactly the point. The boring version of wealth building is the version that actually works, even when it doesn't feel like enough to brag about at Thanksgiving. Sign 2 lives right next door to that one. Your money conversations get quieter. Broke energy is loud. It needs an audience. It talks about the deal it got, the side hustle it's running, the investment that's about to blow up. Quiet wealth doesn't need witnesses. People who are actually becoming free stop narrating their finances at dinner parties. They stop needing anyone to confirm they're doing well. If you've noticed yourself talking about money less, not because you're hiding something, but because you simply don't need the validation anymore, that's not disinterest. That's arrival. Now, here's a reward for staying with me this long, because I promised you something surprising. James Clear, in Atomic Habits, makes a point that most people misread. He says every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Most people apply that to gym habits. Almost nobody applies it to money. But think about what that means for a bank balance. Every time you don't buy the thing, you're not restricting yourself. You're casting a vote for becoming someone who has options. And votes compound. The same way interest compounds, quietly, invisibly, until one day the total shocks you. That's sign 3. You feel calm checking your bank balance, not because the number is huge, but because you've cast enough votes that you finally trust the person you're becoming. Compare that to who you used to be. Before, checking your balance felt like opening a text from someone you owed an apology to. Stomach tight, shoulders up around your ears, scrolling fast so the bad number blurs past before it can really land. After, it's almost boring. You look, you close the app, you keep living your day. That flatness, that boredom, is one of the most underrated indicators of financial freedom there is, and almost nobody tells you to look for it because it doesn't feel like a milestone, it feels like nothing. But nothing is the whole point. Which brings me to sign 4, and this one will sound wrong at first. You start saying no to opportunities that used to feel like emergencies. The side hustle a coworker is launching. The crypto group chat promising something is about to move. The multi-level marketing pitch disguised as a coffee catch-up. You said yes to almost everything, because scarcity makes every opportunity look like the last boat leaving the island. Becoming financially free doesn't mean you get more opportunities. It means you finally have the calm to let most of them sail past without flinching, because you're no longer terrified of missing the one that mattered. And that calm bleeds into sign 5. Your spending gets boring. Genuinely, aggressively boring. You buy the same brand of jeans until they wear out. You eat at 2 restaurants on rotation instead of chasing the algorithm's newest opening. This isn't deprivation. It's the opposite. Deprivation is white-knuckling your way past a bakery window. Boredom is not even noticing the bakery window exists, because your identity isn't built around novelty anymore. There's a study out of Cornell that found people report more lasting satisfaction from experiences repeated with people they love than from constantly chasing new purchases. The freedom isn't in the variety, it's in not needing it. That's how real people quietly build wealth while everyone around them is still financing their lifestyle on a credit card and calling it success. Now let me pull one of those open loops closed. Because I told you, sign 7 would change how you see every wealthy person you've ever met. Here it is, early because you've earned it. The wealthiest people you know are not the ones explaining their choices. They're the ones who've stopped needing to. Sign 6 is exactly that. You stop explaining your decisions to people who are never going to understand them anyway. You don't defend why you drive a 10-year-old car with a 6-figure income. You don't justify skipping the destination bachelor party. You would have built a whole presentation for your cousin about why you're actually doing fine. New you just says, "I'm good," and changes the subject, because your certainty doesn't require a jury. And sign 7, the one I promised, is this. You start thinking in years instead of paychecks. Broke thinking is a 2-week horizon. Can I make it to Friday? Can I cover the credit card this cycle? Quietly free thinking stretches the horizon out so far that a single bad month barely registers as a blip on a 10-year chart of your net worth. I met a woman who owns 3 laundromats in a mid-sized Texas town, and when I asked how she survived the 2020 shutdown with 0 income for months, she said something I've never forgotten. I wasn't thinking about that month. I was thinking about the decade. That's the real dividing line between people who feel constantly at the mercy of money and people who've quietly stepped outside its grip. It's not the size of the emergency fund. It's the length of the timeline they're measuring against. And that timeline is exactly what turns ordinary savers into real estate investors, business owners, and eventually millionaires next door. Here's where the pivot happens, and it's going to reframe everything I just told you. You've probably been assuming these 10 signs are things you develop after you get rich. They're not. They're the mechanism that makes you rich. The causation runs backward from what the entire personal finance industry sells you. Nobody gets a number and then becomes calm. People get calm, and the calm produces the number. Because calm people don't panic sell their investments, don't revenge spend on payday, don't chase the hot stock tip at 2 a.m. because their nervous system is finally regulated enough to sit still. Financial freedom was never a destination your bank account arrives at. It's a nervous system state your bank account eventually catches up to. That reframes sign 8 completely. You start giving, without doing the math first. Not extravagant giving, just easy giving. Covering a friend's coffee, tipping a little heavier, helping a coworker's kid's fundraiser without calculating what it costs you in opportunity. Scarcity makes every dollar out the door feel like blood loss. Quiet freedom makes generosity feel like breathing. You're not richer because you give more. You give more because some part of you has already decided there's enough. And that decision alone puts you further from the paycheck to paycheck cycle than any raise ever could. Think about the people you actually consider wealthy in your own life. Chances are, it's not the loudest one. It's the aunt who quietly paid off her mortgage a decade early and never mentioned it. It's the uncle who retired at 58 with a modest pension, a paid-off house, and zero interest in ever talking about his stock portfolio at the dinner table. Real financial independence has almost nothing to do with volume. It's the neighbor whose retirement planning was so unremarkable you never even noticed they'd already won the game. Everyone else is still loudly playing. Sign 9 is the stress test for all of this. Unexpected expenses stop being emergencies. The car repair, the vet bill, the surprise medical copay, these used to be 5-alarm fires that ruined your whole week and wiped out your savings account in one afternoon. Somewhere along the way, they became Tuesday. Annoying, sure, but not existential. If a $400 surprise no longer threatens your sense of safety, you are further along toward financial independence than your account balance is telling you. Because safety was never really about the number. It was about the buffer. And the buffer is really just calm wearing a dollar sign. This is also usually the point where people quietly start diversifying without ever calling it that. A little more goes into the retirement account. Maybe a first real estate purchase, not as a flex, but as a hedge against a landlord raising rent forever. Maybe a term life insurance policy gets set up, not out of fear, but because calm people plan for contingencies instead of avoiding the thought of them. None of it happens in a dramatic burst. It happens the way a credit score climbs. A few quiet, unremarkable months at a time, until one day you check it and realize you crossed a threshold without noticing the exact day it happened. And sign 10 is the one that ties every other sign together. The one people miss because they're too busy waiting for permission to feel it. You feel free before you're there. Not reckless, not delusional, just unclenched. You've stopped treating financial freedom as a finish line you cross and started treating it as a posture you practice. One boring Tuesday at a time. The coffee you didn't need, the comparison you didn't chase, the emergency that didn't wreck you, the retirement account you funded without fanfare, the debt you paid down without announcing it to anyone. If even 3 of these 10 are already true for you, I want you to actually sit with that for a second instead of scrolling past it. Because most people spend their whole lives waiting for a number to give them permission to feel calm. And you may have already found the calm without waiting for the number's blessing. That's rarer than being rich. Most wealthy people never even get there. They just get numb versions of the same fear, wrapped in nicer packaging, hidden behind a bigger house and a louder car and a portfolio that still keeps them up at night. Real wealth was never about the number on the screen. It was always about whether the number could finally let you exhale. And if you're exhaling a little more than you used to, even without a windfall, even without a promotion, even without the life insurance payout or the inheritance or the lucky break everyone's waiting for, then something in you has already changed. The rest is just arithmetic catching up to a decision you already made. You don't need a 6-figure net worth to feel this. You don't need a fully funded retirement account or a paid-off mortgage or a stock portfolio that impresses anyone. You need the 10 quiet shifts we just walked through, stacked one on top of the other, until one ordinary Tuesday, you realize the fear that used to run your whole life has gone strangely quiet. That silence isn't emptiness. It's the sound of financial freedom arriving before you gave it permission to. If this reframed even one thing about how you see your own progress toward financial freedom, hit like and subscribe. Share this video with your loved one who need this. I'll see you in the next one.